The death of Annie Palmer was not her end. Annie's voodoo retained its power from beyond the grave, and her spirit clung to Rose Hall like a shroud. Soon after her violent death, she began to make ghostly appearances around the mansion. Workers fled, guests vanished, and the estate fell into ruin. But those who dared linger reported horrors that defied reason. A shadowy figure riding a black horse patrolled the grounds. A woman dressed in white drifted across the manor stairs, and glimpses of Annie's apparition flickered from room to room. Inside the decaying walls, screams echoed through empty corridors, and phantom footsteps paced the dungeon where slaves once suffered. The plantation passed from hand to hand over the years. One couple's brief stay at Rose Hall turned to terror. They had planned to spend the night in the upstairs guest room. While sipping tea after settling in for the night, they suddenly heard a baby crying in another upstairs room. Puzzled and uneasy, they searched the floor but found no child. Returning to their room, they discovered their teacups missing. An intense search led them to Annie's bedroom, where the cups lay smashed on the floor. They fled immediately, never to return. The White Witch's influence seeped beyond the mansion. Visitors who took souvenirs, a stone from the garden, a brick from the facade, reported being plagued by nightmares, sickness, and relentless misfortune. One man wrote a desperate letter after stealing a rock from Annie's crypt.
To whom it may concern, please return this rock to the Rose Hall Great House's retaining wall behind Annie Palmer's crypt, where the tree roots grow from the wall above. My family vacationed in Jamaica a few weeks ago, and while on the house tour I felt compelled to have this rock, so I put it in my pocket and didn't really think about it. Since I have been home, I have been plagued by bad dreams, bad luck, and bad nausea. My wife complained of this also until I removed the rock from our home. I brought the rock to work and the issue spread there. So, I'm returning this to its origin, with my sincerest apologies for having removed it in the first place, in hopes that this situation will end. Maybe it's my imagination, maybe it's something else.
Paranormal investigators and visitors have labeled Rose Hall as one of the most haunted houses on the Western Hemisphere. Hans Holzer, in his book Ghosts, True Encounters with the World Beyond, claimed Annie's spirit never left. He visited twice, but lacked a proper trance medium. Holzer claimed that Eileen Garrett, a renowned medium and co-founder of the prestigious Parapsychology Foundation, visited Rose Hall accompanied by a team of researchers and channeled Annie's hysterical ghost during a trance where Annie's ghost took over her body. In 2001, Jack Slater, a popular reggae DJ and radio show host, visited Rose Hall and took several pictures in Annie's room trying to capture her ghost on film. When developed, one image of the mirror revealed the distinct silhouette of a woman in a white dress shrouded in mist. In another photo of Annie's bed, there is a shadowy figure of a man looming over the bed, as if watching. Who could this man be? One of Annie's 3 husbands who met untimely ends? Perhaps Taku, her lover, who ultimately killed her, some say, with the help of his own dark magic. In life, Annie used voodoo and malice to bend wills and end lives. After her death, her malevolent power still lingers in the shadows of Rose Hall. Her reflection haunts mirrors, her laughter echoes in empty halls, and her tomb left unfinished by those who tried to trap her beckons the curious. But as the sun sets, a question lingers. Is Annie truly sealed in her grave, or waiting to claim her next victim? Annie Palmer's death in 1831 coincided with a violent slave uprising that left Jamaica in chaos. Rose Hall, abandoned and crumbling, became a monument to her cruelty. For nearly a century, the mansion stood empty until 1905, when a family bought it, undeterred by ghostly legends. Their stay ended in tragedy. A maid was hurled from the second-story balcony by an invisible force, the same spot where Annie once stood, to enjoy the spectacle of her slaves being tortured. The family fled, leaving Rose Hall silent, but perhaps only because there was no one left to witness its restless shadows. In 1965, U.S. entrepreneurs John Rollins, a businessman, politician, and former lieutenant governor of Delaware, and his wife Michelle Rollins, originally Michelle Matrinko, formerly crowned as Miss USA World 1963, purchased the estate. They spent millions restoring it into a museum, banquet hall, bar, and gift shops. In 1971, the Rollinses hired a group of psychics and voodoo priestesses to trap Annie's spirit. During the ritual, Annie's ghost violently resisted, but they were able to raise Annie, and her spirit emerged from her tomb. The group conversed with her. She admitted to murdering her 3 husbands and proclaimed she was the second and last mistress of Rose Hall. The priestesses drew 3 crosses, 2 crosses on each end of the tomb, and a 3rd cross on one side. But before they could draw the 4th cross, they lost contact with Annie's spirit. And once again, the ritual to seal Annie was incomplete. Annie's spirit still makes its presence felt in the Great House. According to Beverly Gordon, previous manager of the Rose Hall Great House. Sometimes the taps at the bar and in the kitchen start running. No one turns them on, and try as you might, you cannot get that pipe to turn off. It just comes on and goes off by itself. The legend of the White Witch endures. Gordon explains. Everybody knows about the Rose Hall Great House and what took place here. Children, adults, older ones, younger ones. They all know about it. Rose Hall now hosts weddings and tours, its horrors masked by elegance. But staff whisper warnings. Avoid the balcony where the maid fell. Never mock the woman in white. And never take a souvenir. Photographs still capture anomalies. Shadows in mirrors. Blurred figures in doorways. Annie Palmer remains the true mistress of Rose Hall. Her voodoo lingers in the stones, the mirrors, the air itself. Cross her threshold, and you become part of her story. A story written in blood, sealed with curses, and destined to repeat forever.